Hello and howdy ho everyone, Foxy Games here, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Full Story Playthrough. It has been a long time coming getting back to the main story. We've had a few side adventures to take care of, and we still have one other to do after we get through certain parts of the main story. But for now, we're going to go on a little adventure with Arenvald, but first we have to speak with Lise and Minago. We bought this freedom with blood, that of our friends and our enemies. I'll be damned if we're going to give it up again. Indeed.
Come to see how we're getting on? We've made good progress since we took back Ala Mhigan, but there's one big issue we still have to address. Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here.
How about you?
Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that easy. Everyone and his uncle has an opinion. For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future. But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The Reach is yours, Nago. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Ah, there you are. I've been searching all over for you. But don't worry, it's nothing bad. That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me? I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure? After all, we were adventurers before we were scions, were we not? After routing the Imperials and liberating Ala Mhigan, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots?
I'm way ahead of you on that.
So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
It's what we do, I suppose. Let's see what good old Arenvald has in mind. Alright, I also need to display my weapon and shield again. I had turned that off for my last forays. Right then, let's go find Master Leveilleur. Actually, leave that to me. I want you fresh for our little adventure. Wait for us by the Aetheryte and we'll be along shortly. See you there. Alright, if you insist. It feels good to be getting back into the main story quest. And we will be doing that for a time. Eventually, though, we do have another side quest that we're going to be doing. It's a good one, though. It's better than Return to Ivalice, anyway. Greetings, Foxy. 'Twould seem we are to accompany Arenvald on some manner of escapade. Have you any idea what we've gotten ourselves into? Allow me to explain. It'll be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. No snoring, if you please. Now, the events I would speak of occurred before the occupation, back when Ala Mhigan was still a monarchy and Theodoric sat the throne. A uniquely brutal despot, by all accounts. That he was. The King of Ruin suffered no rivals, real or imagined, and his dispute with the monks of the Fist ended with Relger's Reach being burned to the ground. In the latter years of his rule, he was seized by the unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown, and so he ordered that every soul with a claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. The wealth of the poor sods he put to death became the property of the king, and it's said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. Ah, I believe I see the direction our adventure is to take. I assume you have a mind to unearth this hidden bounty. You assume correctly. And I would also be correct in assuming that this legend is widely known. Others must surely have gone in search of your prize, tempting as it seems. Well, of course we won't be the first to make the attempt. Following Ala Mhigan's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned the palace upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even there, after scouring every room from dawn till dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold lust drained away as quickly as it had come, and the legend of the Mad King's Trove remains simply that, a legend. But I see you have no intention of letting the story end there. What self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine the three of us delving into a decades-old mystery. Tell me the thought doesn't set your heart to racing. Oh, and we also got a new emote, so we can box now. So we could be a bit like our good friend Lise. If anyone can find that treasure, it's us. But even if we don't, the adventure will be reward enough, I reckon. The news of Doma and Ala Mhigan's liberation has rekindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the imperial province of Dalmasca has already risen up in rebellion. Yep, we were just made privy to that before. Which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Arenvald, have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere, so we'll probably need to, ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yes. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied Archivists and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. The Garleans are meticulous about such things. If they uncovered the trove during their occupation, the event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as palace servants and officials in Theodoric's day. Given that they would have been at least 20 at the time, you will be looking for people who have seen 40 summers or more. Anything they can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Arenvald, pray try your luck in the fringes and the peaks while Foxy makes the rounds in the Ala Mhigan quarter. Ha! And there I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can meet afterwards at Gilbard's Gate. A proper little diversion. Really, why did I bother wearing my armor? Let's ask around a little bit. In the palace? No, not me, lass. Surely you've heard stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions up on the Divine Audience. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice it to say that I stayed as far away from the palace as possible. Sounds like a good idea. And how about you? God, it's dark. You want to hear an old maid's stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. You'd only see his Royal Majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he'd ordered, and after a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. Next day he started seeing assassins in every shadow and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me in a cold sweat. Yeah, I sure wouldn't want to be there. How about you, sir? I served at the pleasure of King Theodoric and lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards I was. Truth be told, it was a very dark chapter in my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which of course we were under direct orders to ignore. So we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hell's bent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street and ask old Arenvald. He was the king's head scribe. Alright. There's a bunch of people hanging out over here. Yes, I am Arenvald. What do you want with me? You would have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet if Ala Mhigan is to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and the public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days, the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered a court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family, a magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, then perhaps it is mayhap as a kindness that the monarchy ended with him. Damn. Well, that's pretty fucked. Let's go find Arenvald and share this particularly unsettling story. Alphino's here too. Excellent timing as ever. We have but this moment returned from our own intelligence-gathering efforts. Since we're all here, why don't we share what we've learned? Allow me to begin, then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures, and found precisely none. It is just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of this trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist, or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. But what of you, Foxy? Were your investigations any more fruitful? Turned into monsters? And what could he mean by this darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man in Alighieri who spoke of the palace as subterranean prison, but he said naught of cursed abominations. The Imperial archives were also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. Could this scribe fellow have been spinning her a yarn, do you think? Did you believe him, Foxy? His fears seemed genuine. If he was afraid, that does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be so hasty. Arenvald's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I share my theory, there is a matter I would clarify. Arenvald, you spoke of light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it, but you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood. I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Ala Mhigan mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was an emerging third eye, like the kind you see in pure-blood Garleans. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage and took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. In the end, she turned me out onto the street, and I was left to haunt the alleyways of Ala Mhigan. a feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. The best I can say about the years that followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually, I left the city behind me and joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and that road led me into the company of the Scions. I tell you this so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With the Otteric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Arenvald, and I apologize. That cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Foxy, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arenvald's noble cause and claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? Of course. Then I should be glad to tell you that my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you are minded to hear it. Let's see, accessories. Well, I suppose we'll take it. I doubt it's any good, but we'll see. Let's see. Are they any better than what we have? The answer is no. Well, out with it. What's this theory of yours? Actually, mayhap it would be better if we first adjourn to a more suitable location. In case a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean? Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene on the southern edge of Lochseld. Always on the move. How do I always wind up questing at night? Like, seriously. I'm pretty sure nighttime lasts twice as long as daytime in this game. Come now, Alphino, don't leave us in suspense. Let's hear this theory of yours. Forgive me, 'twas not my intention to draw out proceedings. I simply wished to have the lock in sight while I explained things. Prior to the great flood of the Six Umbral Calamity, the salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines, and this, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of SKALLA, which rose and fell during the Fifth Astral Era. From what we know of the period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise, having been all but destroyed by the war. Yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Lochseld. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace mentioned by Theodoric's former scribe was not a reference to the prison, but to a place still further below, the ruins of SKALLA. I further surmise that the Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there not simply out of a desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodoric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they were meant to guard the Mad King's Trove? Precisely. And since we know the court thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that any entrance into the old city will have been magically concealed. Which would explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and the gods know how many Ala Mhigans never found a trace of the trove. We, however, have certain advantages which they did not enjoy. Foxy, would you be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the loch and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Arenvald and I will seek out an ensorcelled portal within the palace. Well, I am the only one who can breathe underwater, so I suppose it does fall to me. Now the question is, do I dive in here and then swim down? So it would seem. This is pretty cool, I will say. I don't know what those things are, though. Let's go and poke one and find out. It does absolutely fucking nothing. You discover a passage that appears to lead under the palace foundations. Press on and find out where it goes. Not without a mount. You come to a worn stone door standing temptingly ajar. It would appear that you have found an entrance into the subterranean ruins. Foxy, it's Alphino. We have searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Have you aught to report? And you believe it leads into the ruins? Excellent. Then I propose we proceed from our respective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. Oh, come on, you two. We might as well make it a race. Victory goes to the first adventurer to find the treasure. Godspeed. The drowned city of SKALLA is now accessible. And, of course, we'd be terrible adventurers if we didn't go straight in. Welcome to the drowned city of SKALLA. Let's proceed. Been a while since we've done just a regular old dungeon. We are, of course, going to pull a little more than that. In fact, let's go wall to wall. Why not? Oh, someone's really got those stuns going on. I like it, I like it. Very good. Oh dear. I actually like the way these things look. They're kind of cool. They're coelacanths, which are a type of sea slug, actually. I feel it seems to be able to handle what's being thrown at me, so... Somebody keeps getting some really good stuns off, too, so... And here we are at the first boss. A very pretty enemy, I think, anyway, called a Kelpie. Let's do it. Now this enemy's a bit tricky, assuming it still functions the way it did in the guide that I watched. Also, we are hecking him right up. Alright, he's going to use either Hydro Pull or Hydro Push. Now, well, everybody's staying close to him, so we'll see if they're right. Okay, they were. Apparently it used to be that the effects would be opposite when he used Pull or Push. It's good to know that that has since changed. he's probably going to cast Hydro Pull now, so that means we'll want to be over here-ish. Lovely. Bring him away from those puddles there. And down he goes. Man, we really hecked him up. Nothing good, so we'll pass. It's a rock thing. And I don't know who's doing all the stuns, but I like you. I like you, friend. Should be okay. I think I'll probably pop Hallowed Ground just to make sure. Yeah, let's do that so the healer gets a chance to keep up. Yep, I think that was the right call. Alright. The heals were not coming quick enough. That is for sure. I mean, maybe I should have grabbed less, but... Come on, come on. Everybody stack on me if you're being hit. I'm gonna go with not my fault on that one. That was... Yeah. To me, that looked like the healer focusing too much on DPSing and not enough on healing. But whatever, you know, it's not a big deal. Alright, the old one. Let's take care of this boss. I thought I had a one-liner there. I didn't. This guy, he's pretty straightforward. Just like the last boss. Oh yeah, these things need to be blapped before they explode. Very good. Oh yes, we're going to get turned into Spriggans here. And our one ability is to drop bombs underneath us. And we have to do that to blow these things up. And then we get changed back to normal. This boss doesn't do a lot of direct damage, I've noticed. It's a lot of dodging. A lot more than most bosses. And here we go again. And needless to say, we're doing just fine. Because we are awesome. Actually, this group is doing pretty well. Aside from that one little hiccup, which I admit I probably could have pulled a little less. And we would have been fine. So, it's whatever, you know. It's just a video game. Nobody needs to get... Ooh, hands. You know, why not? I'll take them. Oh yes, this next part is kind of interesting. Looks like they're going for that chest, which is fine. A ring, we don't need. Alright. Alright, we can go no further in this room, so we have to kill all enemies in the room. Those lightless homunculi are a lot like the dark sprites or whatever they were from the Nabrialis fight. They shoot out huge column AoEs. And now, we step on this thing and we turn into these fat Typhon ghost-like things to float across the room. It's it's quite silly, but I like it a lot. Don't you go over there. Once again, we become quite fat and we move across. It's so silly, I love it. And it will wear off on its own. Just in time for us to get over here. What's this? Don't need. Oh yeah, remember these spoopy looking guys? Well, they're here. Throw down a Sheltron just to keep the heat off of the healer. Oh yeah, all these are people who were transformed by the Thaumaturge. So they're changing back into humans after they're killed. Oh, and don't think that this is over yet. It's a behemoth-looking monster. And oh boy, is he spoopy. His mechanics are a bit spoopy too. Because he's one of those bosses who only telegraphs his attacks. There are no markers. Alright. He's rearing back. Stay away from the front. He's raising his tail, so stay away from the back. Do not look at him. Stay where you are. Okay, very good. Better move. Good. Oh god, I thought I was fucked there. Oh, it was the tail. Tricksy motherfucker. Oh well, I almost got through this fight without a single Vuln stack. Now he's gonna claw. Don't move. Oh, shit. Okay, I'm confused. Well, I fucked up one mechanic. 2. And we're good. Hey, you know, it's not a fun run if you don't fuck up a little. That's a lie, but whatever. Anyway. He's at peace. Yeah, this is hardly the time to cheer. It's very solemn. It's very, mournful in a way. Good job, everybody. We don't need that shit. Let's go. Oh, it's you two.
Are you all right? Aye. Everything's still attached.
Ah, it seems both our paths led here. Very good. We spent altogether too much time fleeing fiends horrid and numerous. How fared you?
No better.
Much the same, then. 'Twould appear this place is yet inhabited by King Theodoric's kin, or what is left of them. The work of terrible magics, I fear.
Terrible, aye. But their misfortune is our fortune?
Quite. By the 12, there is even more than I imagined.
That must be a portrait of the Mad King himself, and he does look quite mad.
I can't wait to see the look on Lisa's face. Thanks for believing in me, you two.
I mean, with hair like that, who wouldn't be insane? And we're back in the Ala Mhigan quarter. Our path was dark, treacherous, and fair crawling with abominations. Long story short, it was a proper adventure. That it was. It really did take us right back to our roots, didn't it? As, just wandering adventurers looking for stuff to kill. Arenvald and I forged ahead at the fastest pace we could manage, but I was not surprised to find you waiting for us. I suppose it serves us right for challenging the Warrior of Light. Next time we should agree on some manner of handicap. Ah, we may have lost Alphino, but think of what we found! Quite. I'm still reeling at the sight of that mountain of riches. Oh, good thing we didn't bring Tataru with us. What, like how you reeled at the sight of that floating specter, you mean? You should have seen him scream, Foxy. Must we dwell on such momentary lapses? We found the Mad King's trove, and that is all that matters. Right, Alphinaud was afraid of ghosts. First Estinian and now Arenvald. 'Twould seem there is much amusement to be had at my expense. Honestly, I might as well go adventuring with Alice. All jesting aside, we must tell people the good news, and I think Lise should be the first. Seconded. There is to be a meeting of representatives from across Ala Mhigan, so she is sure to be in the city. Shall we seek her out? Sounds good to me. Ah, some good news for a change. You know, apart from the liberation of Ala Mhigan. Still, steeped in politics as she is, she'll be happy for the news. Oh, you three look pleased with yourselves. What have you been up to? I'm glad you asked, Lise, and I'm pretty sure you're going to like the answer. You're joking. The Mad King's trove. I thought it was a myth. So did plenty of people, but they didn't have Foxy and Alphinaud in their party. The credit for finding it should really go to them. As for what to do with it all, I vote that it go towards alleviating the suffering of Ala Mhigan's poor. Gods, if there's as much as you say. Arenvald did not exaggerate, I assure you. We could not hope to carry even a fraction of it out on our own. I've taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of the ruins. If you will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters, they should be able to follow the route to where the treasure lies. Understood. I'll make sure every coin is accounted for, and that goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Oh, there is one other thing. When the time comes to draw up a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask that you consult Alphinaud. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see that simply handing out sacks of gil won't solve everything, but I couldn't rightly tell you what to do instead. Oh, I know the feeling. I'd welcome any advice you could give us, Alphinaud. Of course, I shall be at your disposal. Commander, we've got a problem. Deep breaths. Tell me what's happened. A mob's gathered outside headquarters and they've started making demands. You'd best come and see for yourself. Oh boy.
Step back, all of you!
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
It's so nice to have voice acting back.
We're not leaving till you hand her over!
Bring her out! Bring her out!
What's going on?
Someone let slip about Fordola.
It's true then! The bitch really is in there! I knew it! I bloody knew it! We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Come on, you don't mean that! We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down!
Calm down! That monster and her thrice damned skulls dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
Aye! And my dad! That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock!
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her!
So that's what all the fuss is about. Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Ala Mhigan.
Hey, who's this?
That's the bull of Ala Mhigan.
My friends, you are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well. That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live. Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers. I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance, but we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth. Now is the time that we, the people of Ala Mhigan, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves, and for generations yet unborn. When they look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried? I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Ala Mhigan. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
Robe on.
I know you're right, I do, but I can't.
It's only natural to feel that way. Your enemy is finally at your mercy after so many years. It's easy to want to just let loose, abandon your principles, and tear them apart with your bare hands. Fordola and her skulls may have aspired to be Imperial citizens, but they were born Ala Mhigan. To their countrymen, they are traitors of the worst kind. The Butcher has much to answer for, but to simply drag her from her cell and slaughter her in the street? General Aldin is right. Yes, he is. Thank the gods General Aldin arrived when he did. Any later and we would have had a riot on our hands. After 20 years of Imperial rule, 'tis no surprise that people should seek a target for all their pent-up rage and grief. I only wish I knew the solution. What's the prison guard have to say about this? No one goes in without the commander's permission. Not even you, miss. Yeah. Understandable. My thanks, Raban. Listening to their anger, I could feel myself being swept away. 'Tis a difficult tide to stem. 'Twas the same rage which brought us to our feet and carried us to victory. But now the war is over. All the unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, and it's not just here. We've reports of mobs forming all over. They've been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Garleans. It starts with insults most often, then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xenos and his officers. It was grim. I want to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. But mayhap the time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. The representatives will be here soon, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Oh, village elders, refugee leaders, and the like. It wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own, so we've planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited the Ananta and the Kikern to participate. Ala Mhigan stands at a crossroads, and this meeting will decide which path it takes. The matter of Fordola's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Then let's execute her and be done with it. She asked herself to be put to death. Nago, I already explained why we wouldn't do that. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people right now, but where would it end? Should we round up everyone who collaborated, and everyone who didn't resist? There would be no one left, and then we'd be no better than Theodoric and Xenos. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Fordola? Only I caught a glimpse of her past. A moment of it anyway, during the fight. She's done terrible things, aye, unforgivable things, but in some ways she's a victim of the circumstances in which she was born, and that's something I can understand. Alright, speak with the prison guard when you're ready, and I'll come and join you. I want to talk to her too. I'll return to my other duties then. We've barely begun to investigate the facility where they gave Fordola her powers. Be fairly warned, friends, she will test you. Don't let your emotions color your judgment when she does. Well, I hope she receives fair judgment. If you will have me, I have a mind to attend this interview as well. Oh, I guess I'm also going. I've no great wish to save Fordola, even if I could, but there's more to her than meets the eye, I'm sure of it. Speak with the guard, and we'll all go in together. I think it's best if I stay outside and keep watch for troublemakers. After what that woman did to Mefford and Commander Kemp, I'd struggle not to throttle her. I don't blame you. I'd like to do the same, but... You have the commander's permission to enter, then? I sure do.
Well, well, well. So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
That's not why we're here, no. Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom? Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
You're wasting your time. All of this is pointless! There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it! I killed your men. I killed my men! And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
That's a lie, and you know it! You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want. You didn't come this far, climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fordola. I see you for what you are.
Oh, looks like we're about to as well.
Come along, Fordola. We mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
All right. Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Ala Mhigan. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what did that man call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who'd gladly betray her kith and kin to gnaw on what few scraps the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
Oh, but they were quick to help themselves and their bitch spawn, weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
Fordola!
Traitors!
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of arms.
We're citizens. We have rights.
I'm scared.
It's all right. It's all right. They don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive. Traitors! Traitors!
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
Fordola, please. You already have citizenship. Why would you want to become a soldier? Oh, gods. What have you done to your face?
Forgotten it already, have you? I'm honoring Father's memory.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us? Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage. So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, They'll think twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time. It'll be hard. Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes, wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past? And what? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they? Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a god's damned thing about the life I've led! The bastards that killed him. The bastards that let it happen. My father deserved better! I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay! You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone. The things they've done to you. The lies. The betrayal. The endless fighting. Yet there you stand. Unbroken. How? Why?
For those I have lost, for those I can yet save.
Damn you. Damn you all.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it. Let's go.
Wow, that was most telling. Fordola is definitely not the woman that we expected. Sorry about that. I let my emotions get the better of me. It's just that she and I are of an age, and we're neither of us one thing or another. I can't help but feel like she's my problem to solve. Well, you are very similar, in a way. The capacity to experience such visions of the past has always seemed to me to be a most desirable talent, but I now see it as much of a burden as a blessing. For sure. Especially for someone like Fordola, who had it foisted upon her by artificial means. She was never meant to have the echo. I don't know that we solved anything exactly, but we've given Fordola something to think about at least. Aye, and I found something new to think about too. I don't know about you, Foxy, but the visions only come to me every now and then. From the way Fordola kept wincing, though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. That's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between one who was born with the echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? Well, the immortal flames have been scouring through that research facility ever since liberation. There's a chance they might have some answers for us. General Aldin's there overseeing the investigation. Let's go and pay him a visit, shall we? Might as well. Maybe make it a little bit easier on Fordola. She doesn't exactly deserve it, but it's still the right thing to do. General Aldin is inside, aye. Will you be joining him? We sure will. Yep, this is the place where they were keeping Kryl hostage. Please. Come on, let's talk to Rauban. In a minute. Ah, they've got the Ironworks people in here as well. Seeing this facility, I'm reminded of what they did to Kryl. We've received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Oh boy. This horrible thing. I hope they weren't able to replicate it. Ugh, they should burn this place to the ground and be done with it. Oh, that won't avail us anything. So many bodies. Test subjects. Ooh, wow. Wow. Wow, it's on the other side, too. What news? You spoke with Fordola, I take it? Yes. As expected, she didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arenvald noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? We've been hard-pressed just to organize the research materials, let alone study them. To be frank, I'd welcome the Scion's expert assistance if you had the time to lend a hand. No rest for the wicked. Huh? Idle conversation prohibited. Eating and drinking Oh, geez. The fallen scrap of parchment appears to list facility regulations, but nothing of any interest. Huh. Check out this Magitech pod. The device in which Kryl was held seems even more ominous now you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject, while this one bears the label Master Subject. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the labeling? All the pods are designed to drain the ether of the occupant, save that one right there. Unlike the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. to measure the echo, and they were probably feeding Kryl ether. Leave this section to me. Anything new to say, Arenvald? These bastards would fiddle with a man's very soul if it served their purpose. Nothing is sacred to them. Nothing. Roban? Bring whatever you discovered to me, and I'll put our findings together. How about the investigator over here? So many bodies. Every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. From what we've been able to determine, they perished from forcible ether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. Yeah. I know little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be much appreciated. Foxy, shall we start with you? Taken in combination with the testimonies of Kryl and Thancred, I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancement procedure entailed infusing a single candidate with ether siphoned from a multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Kryl, the patterns of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. In other words, they were trying to recreate Kryl's echo? I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Kryl is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity in Fordola. The soldiers who guard Fordola, many of them lost friends and family to the skulls. And there's a sentry at her door night and day. If she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past... But you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you may recall, your cell was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Hrace Velger's past. Fordola has been forced to experience the agony of those whose lives she destroyed. The guilt must be immeasurable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the results of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. Now that would be a nightmare. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these gods-forsaken procedures, and Fordola remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish. Not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. In a way, it is justice. She should be forced to endure all that, to see the suffering she caused. The forcible extraction of ether from a living subject is invariably fatal. How many died that Fordola might gain her new abilities? I've never known why I was given the echo, but this makes me want to put it to good use. I go looking for answers about the echo and end up getting schooled by Ralban. Yet more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. General Aldin is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lise. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. I wonder what he'll do when everything here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? 'Tis a quandary which countless refugees now face, to continue the life they built in Ul'dah or start again in the land of their birth. Foxy, a moment. I am newly returned from Ul'dah with a message from the Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. An audience with the Sultana. Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be the perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd all like to know about those, Alphino, but not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of him, Foxy. It is true. In case you're wondering, I'm not planning on staying in Ala Mhigan. Too many bad memories. And besides, I like my new life. Well, that's good. We like having you around, Arenvald. I know I could learn so much from Raoban if he decided to stay, but it's his choice, and I'm not about to try and persuade him. Ul'dah needs him too. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasure to good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Arenvald? I'm at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nanamo my regards, Foxy. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Alright, well, let's head on over to Ul'dah. Ah, the Chamber of Rule. It has been quite some time since we've been here. Hi, Genlins. Bye, Genlins. Look at all these people. Why are there so many people? A lot of new sprouts. That's good. My lady, it was an honor to face you in the tournament. Since that day, I have spent my every spare moment in the practice yard, striving to attain some fraction of your skill with the blade. Hey, there's some continuity. I'm actually quite happy about that. Ah, forgive me. You are here for your audience with the Sultana. Pray proceed.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Ala Mhigan will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Raoban and his future. All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Ala Mhigan. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Ala Mhigan and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Raoban chooses to remain in Ul'dah or return to Ala Mhigan, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears. Might I have your company for a brief adventure? Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Well, this is kind of expected, really. Raoban would of course have some misgivings about leaving Nanamo and Ul'dah. I suppose we'll accompany the Sultana on her little jaunt outside, but we will be doing so in the next episode. Isn't it so nice to see so many new players? At least I imagine most of these people are new. It's great to see this game getting the attention it deserves, and all these people experiencing the story. So, in the next episode, we'll go on a walk with the most adorable Sultana in the history of Ul'dah, and we'll see where that leads. In the meantime, my name is Foxy Games, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.